Hi, everybody. Old Dynamite here with you one more time. We are getting ready for this stellar event here at the Paragon Casino in Marksville, Louisiana, a.k.a. American Combat Alliance number 19. Standing next to me, the other half of our big co-main event here tonight, representing Blitz Sport MMA, making the long haul all the way from Waco, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, Edgardo Guzman. Edgardo, how you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great, excited for this opportunity. I'm thankful to have y'all having me back here, and ready to put on a show, man. Ready to put on a show.
Now let's talk to these folks out here in the audience a little bit. We talked to Braxton King, your opponent, earlier. This is pretty much a hometown fight for him. A lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of fans out here supporting him. Long drive for you. You're not going to have that hometown push behind you. As a fighter, mentally, does that affect you at all when you kind of step into hostile territory? You hear the crowd leaning one way as opposed to yours?
Not really. We train hard, and we're confident in our skills. And when you're at the gym, there's no crowd or nothing, so you're just kind of used to that environment already. So I kind of blur all that out and just focus on my opponent and what job I need to get done tonight.
Learn to blow it out, just all white noise. Now, let me ask you this. Have you done anything special to train particular for this fight, or it has been just kind of business as usual always at the gym out there?
Business as usual. Just working hard, keeping the energy positive, working hard. I got some boys on the card with me, so just the energy in the gym, it's really good, man. So we're just going to try to keep the ball rolling. Got a lot of action in the cage, so.
Now, that's got to be a great benefit to you. Even though you're making a long drive and you're stepping into hostile territory, you still got your crew riding with you. So you got folks here to have your back and support you. Now, is there anything we need to look for, any predictions in tonight's fight?
A fast pace. We're going to be, I know he's a tough fighter, confident too. So a lot, just everywhere, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking. I'm hoping for a choke. That's what I'm hoping for, a rear naked choke. So finish, baby, a finish.
There you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. These two fantastic professional fighters will step inside the AKA cage tonight. Standing next to me right now is one half of our co-main event, making his professional debut inside the AKA cage, representing Team Juggernaut, Braxton King. Braxton, how are you tonight, young man?
I'm doing great, man. Just ready for the show to kick off.
So, Braxton, you ought to be feeling pretty confident. This is your area. This is your part of the state right here, so you got a hometown crowd backing you tonight. But I've got to ask, how does that feel? You're stepping out of the amateur ranks. Now you're stepping into professional ranks. So you're getting into the Shark Tank. Now that record really counts as far as, your promotability, as far as your earnability. A little more weight on your shoulders now coming from the amateur ranks. How's that feeling?
So, I know people expect me to have a lot of weight on my shoulders, being that I have a bunch of people here, being that I'm, moving up in the pros division. But, the way I see it, Dynamite, I fought here several times. I packed out the house several times. So the crowd, I'm grateful for them, but it's not going to make any difference when I step in that ring. And this fight here, I've prepared to endure whatever this guy's going to throw at me. I've prepared to endure it, and I'm going to come back even harder. So.
A young man with determination and focus. He is locked, cocked, and ready to rock here at AKA 19, putting the professional ranks on notice. Ladies and gentlemen, Braxton King is here in Marksville at the Paragon. Professional debut tonight at AKA 19.
The first of our two professional fights is underway between Braxton King and Edgardo Guzman. These guys very long and lean. Guzman immediately shoots for the takedown.
You can see the difference, from our early on fights at the amateur level. Like, look how tight their hips are. Look how tight their bodies are. They're more experienced on the ground. They know how to grapple more, how to utilize each other's weights and advance and transition. Advanced position here, but King's not making it easy.
No, and you're right. You can tell the difference in the professionals. instantly just looking more technically sound.
Yeah, everything's tight, everything's cinched up. You know, there's less holes in the game. You know what I mean?
Also, one difference, these are 5-minute rounds, not 3-minute rounds. This one's scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Our championship fight tonight will be 5 5-minute rounds. Guzman picked up the early takedown, hasn't been able to do too much with it just yet.
You know, King's been giving him, you know, a definite run on the ground, you know, a good defense. Did a good job of trapping those arms, you know, keeping a tight guard. But it's what I was about to say. They're not doing anything, you know. So there's only so long you can do that before you're going to have to split and re-go.
Bam Bam decides to stand them up here. I think rightfully so. There had not been a lot of action there or advancing.
Right back to another takedown.
Guzman right back to it. We've seen a lot of our fights tonight spent on the ground. You know, it's crazy. We had our last card, just knockouts galore, finishes, and the majority of the fights tonight have gone the distance and it's been spent on the ground.
Butterfly guard going here. And Braxton King's just making it really hard for Guzman to advance. You know, Guzman wants to take him down, but he's not doing much here at this point. And it's just a matter of, you know, not being able to pass his guard.
2 minutes remaining in the first round.
I mean, you know, looks like he may want to posture up and try to throw some shots here, but, you know, doing that too, you have to be careful at this level not to be caught in some type of, you know, triangle or anything else.
He's got King in a very awkward position now.
See how King has his arm trapped here too. He's trying to set up an arm bar. He lost it there though.
Another great job by Bishop Promotions of bringing us AKA 19. You can't say enough about what Amber and John Bishop have done for MMA in the area.
Yeah, man, reignited the fuse for sure.
Absolutely.
There's just not a lot of, you know, there's not a lot of advancing or transitions here at this point. You know, it's just, he's really trying to get past his guard, and King really doesn't want him to get out of his guard, you know what I mean?
Bam Bam stood him up a moment ago. He's in there tied again.
Got some shots being thrown now. Looking for an ankle there.
Looks like he may have that ankle. It's tough to tell from our angle.
Yeah, it's not in there.
Guzman able to roll right out of it.
There's those elbows someone was asking for. There we go.
Guzman showing off some of the first damage we've seen so far in this fight as he lands.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, and here we go. You know, like it's not pure grappling. Now we actually have some shots being thrown. The game is completely changed now, right?
Shots are starting to add up here at the end of the first round.
He's close to ending this right here.
Fortunately for King, it was the end of the round.
Yeah.
Edgardo Guzman really picking up the pace there at the end. We saw him about 20 to 30 seconds into the first round. Shoots against the first takedown. Spent about 2 minutes on top. Really didn't advance too much. Bam Bam stood him back up. Immediately went for the single leg. Got the takedown once again. And then finally there at the end of the round started to pick up some damage as he let the hands fly from the top spot. Kind of boring until the very end there in the first round, but I'll tell you what, once Guzman got it going, he started landing some shots.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, business has picked up here at AKA 19. We have stepped off into the professional ranks. Braxton King making his debut, taking on the undefeated Edgardo Guzman. And I'll tell you what, it's been a nice fight thus far. And how great of a job is our referee, Basil Bam Bam Machu.
Yep.
Right on top of the action, standing it up when he's not seeing enough there. And you saw him very intent watching. There was a chance he might have stopped that fight right there.
Yeah, he was right there. Fortunately for King, that was the end of the first round because Guzman was starting to mount some damage.
And that's the biggest change you see when you step to the pro ranks. Those guys really start working those elbows, man.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely going to see some shots thrown here, and we're going to see what happens because we saw in the first round, Guzman took him down, but we pretty much laid there and couldn't advance and, pass his guard for a while until he was able to turn it over and lay some shots down.
Both of these guys very talented young pros, but very humble and respectful of each other, respectful of the sport itself.
Well, you saw them giving some great sportsmanship right there before the fight even started. You rarely see it before the fight.
And we saw that at the weigh-ins. They were both very appreciative of the other one showing up early so they could both weigh in, get hydrated, get themselves back up. So I said these guys have shown a lot of class all weekend here at the Paragon. So, guys, we're starting to wind down. I mean, we're almost to the finish line. Big main event coming up next. The pro featherweight title on the line. And, guys, I tell you, I just don't know how to call that one. I mean, we know David, the boss, Bosnick, is game. But you don't become 8-0 as a professional like Dakota Hope for no reason. And, I mean, he's been around. It's not like he's done it all in his backyard. And, I mean, the young kid, excuse my language, is built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be a heck of a fight in that main event.
It's definitely going to be a good matchup, man. And both those kids are really tough. Bosnick is seasoned, too, and just will scrap.
Well, let's be honest about it. There's nobody on this card that has more hype behind him than Hope does. I mean, there's a reason he's undefeated. Everybody wants to see him fight here tonight. He was scheduled to fight Thibodeau for the title back at AKA 17, and then Bosnick ended up stepping in. He took the title away from Thibodeau, and now we'll get Bosnick at Hope tonight. So I think you couldn't ask for a better way to end AKA 19.
And that right there was a perfect example of why you hear fighters and coaches say, hey, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Bosnick stepped up, took the fight last minute, gold around his waist. So back to the matter at hand. Here we go. Edgardo, Guzman, Braxton King working in the far side of the cage away from us. Guzman in the yellow and black trunks on top. You see Braxton King in the red Valet Tudo style. Not a lot of action here. Braxton King doing a good job keeping that head pinned down so Guzman can't posture up from this position and really start raining down some punches.
Yeah, King's done that. He did that most of the first round, too. He's just, you got him sucked into his guard, and Guzman's having a really hard time of trying to get loose there where he can rain down some punches.
But the bad thing is with that kind of a strategy, DJ, you're not necessarily going to win the fight. You're just going to lose a little slower.
Most definitely you will not. And, that's like just as you saw them get stood up in the last round, it's going to happen. If you're not making any type of advance or transition, you're going to have to get stood up.
And like I said, again, like we alluded to earlier, you're in a danger right now. Those elbows coming down.
Yeah.
And that's like a pizza cutter, man. It will slice you up in a heartbeat. But Guzman relentless with the pressure right now, constantly moving around, working. He needs to get that right leg loose so he can take a full mount. I would even switch over to side control right now if I was Guzman. And you see King doing a good job trying to cross those feet and not let that right leg of Guzman get out.
King's legs are just, if you watch him, even whenever Guzman's in his guard, he'll spread Guzman's legs out so Guzman can't even think about posturing up. He's just got amazing guard.
Smart move that time by Edgardo, going to trap up the right arm of Braxton King with his knee. Braxton King able to get it out. Here we see the a la Conor McGregor shoulder strikes there.
Yeah. Man, whatever it takes to get your opponent to, let go or make that next move.
Well, so many things happen there. One, you're keeping your opponent uncomfortable.
Yes.
You may not be doing a lot of damage. Two, no matter what, hey, you're scoring in the judges' eyes, so you're working your way towards a victory with that. So, like I say, it doesn't do a lot of damage per se, but it's serving its purpose.
You got to find a way to score, right?
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
And I'll tell you what I really like to see was in that first round, we saw that double side take, head feint, and go for the takedown of Guzman. I really like to see these guys bring out these new wrinkles as opposed to just your typical cookie cutter style of MMA. So I like seeing guys try new things. And I mean, that was pretty inventive out of Guzman.
Yeah, he definitely had an interesting stance in the way he pushed forward there.
And so far right now, I mean, Braxton King is being smothered. I mean, he's defending so he doesn't take a lot of damage or get a submission right here, but definitely not winning the fight, guys.
No, not for sure.
And if I'm Braxton King, I mean, at some point in time, hey, you're into the second round. It's almost over. Look, it's time to get away from a defensive posture. You got to take some chances and take some risks at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be off your back, go for a sub or something. You're just trying to keep him in your guard.
And like we said, I mean, you're just basically you're losing a little slower.
Yeah, of course.
The corner saying you're going to have to unhook that guard and find a way up.
And Guzman doing a great job, just relentlessly. See him really getting that posterior up in the air right there, keeping the pressure on the chest, not letting a little air come into the lungs of King, keeping that forehead underneath the chin of Braxton. Again, sometimes all it takes is keep your opponent uncomfortable, and they're going to make bad decisions.
Yeah.
So round 2 of 3 in our co-main event. 2 professional fighters, the undefeated 1-0 Edgardo Guzman, the debut of Braxton King. Braxton King says no stool. I am locked, cocked, and ready to rock. Let's bring it. I hope he comes out with the same sense of urgency that he has in the post-round show right here.
Yeah, I mean, coming out with the same game plan you had the past 2 rounds is not going to do what you needed to do to complete this fight.
No, at this point, you're down for sure, 2-0, so you have got to come out and let it all hang out.
Well, you can tell he's incredibly frustrated. He didn't want to hear much from the coaches right there. He feels like Guzman is just dominating him at this point because he's taking him down every opportunity that he's had.
And a heck of a coach, Lang Williamson, the head coach and owner of Team Juggernaut. I used to call his fights back in the day. That is a big, big man, and I tell you guys to watch him in that cage. Unparalleled Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills, and he is quick. He's like a Brock Lesnar, I mean a heavyweight that moves around like a lightweight. Lang was impressive in his day, and he's passed on the knowledge well to a lot of these young kids in the Opelousas area. So here we go, third and final. Let's see who's going to walk away with their hand raised tonight at AKA 19 in our co-main event. There you see Guzman coming in that front push kick. Braxton King fires one high, nothing there. Braxton King with the sweeping overhead right. Guzman smartly goes under, takes advantage. King doing the best he can to sprawl right now. Guzman looking for the sweep attempt. Edgardo brings a knee to the solar plex, but again, you see Braxton King just everything defensive.
Yeah, it's all defensive right now. He's just looking him up.
And now he's back down in an all too familiar position here in the third round. He had those underhooks. He should have tried to switch to had overhooks, I'm sorry. He should have tried to switch to an under there. So right now, basically, I mean, Braxton just kind of getting out wrestled and a little better in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game is Guzman.
Little ear slap going on to get Guzman to move his arms.
So here we go again, just hanging on to prevent Guzman from posturing up. But again, that's not doing you any good right here. And look, guys, I know it's easy for us to sit here at the commentary table and say, oh, you should have did this, should have did that. And look, it's not that easy, guys, when you're in that cage and you're with another fighter on your level, really imposing his will on you. So don't let us make it sound that cheap, but we're just giving you the best we can see from what we got at our vantage point.
Well, and that's exactly what it is. Guzman has just imposed his will so far through 2.5 rounds.
Braxton King hasn't done anything different, other than I see a little ear slap there and then trying to trap an arm. Other than that, I mean, we're in the same exact position we've been in the past 2 rounds. But you do see how he'll spread his legs out whenever Guzman tries to advance there and then go right back into a tight guard.
And see, that's smart from Guzman right there. You're not taking any real big chances. Yeah. Keep the butt up in the air. Just keep that pressure. And by doing that, you're keeping Braxton pinned down. He can't do anything.
Yeah.
But again, upcoming next, guys, the big main event for the gold belt, the 145-pound professional title here at American Combat Alliance coming up next. Want to thank all you folks out there for joining us on Fight Pay-Per-View tonight. We'll be back here July 22nd, again live at the Paragon Casino for AKA. So we'd like to have each and every one of you tune in for that one as well. As always, we'll have the dynamic duo, the gruesome twosome of DJ the Enforcer Thomas and Tyler Not So Dangerous Moody.
We might even see Matt Danger
We
still back here with us.
might see Danger back. Then you'll have the trifecta of terror.
We got Guzman finally in some side control. Gonna lay some damage down here, hopefully.
By the way, Dynamite has a thesaurus with adjectives that he just brings with him everywhere. He just reads from it.
Guys, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I got to look at people. Did you record that? Because I don't know what's coming out of the old mouth sometimes. I'll go back and watch film. I need to hang on to that one, use it again.
Guzman's in a much better position here than he was earlier, and he's in a half guard where he can actually throw some punches. He has an arm.
Well, Guzman kind of in cruise control heading towards a victory here, but this is definitely one of those grinding wins. Not real flashy, not something the fans you can see in a highlight reel, but just really out there working, grinding it out, a smart fight.
Well, we've seen that a lot tonight. Many of these fights have just been grinded out. It's the reason every single fight has gone the distance outside of one, and a lot of our fights have been spent on the ground here in these exact positions.
Yeah, I had a little conversation with our matchmaker, Mr. James Georgetown. I said, after tonight, you're fired. You're too good at your job.
Well, it's so tough because we just came off a couple of cards with a ton of finishes, a lot of knockouts. And so if you're just taking this card as, the only one, it's been that way. But the last couple have been absolute bangers. And
guys, we've been around the business enough. You know how it is. If you try to book 9 or 10 fights, they'll all go in the first round. You've got a 45-minute to an hour-and-a-half show. If you book 15, they're all going to go 3 rounds. You end up with a 4 to a 5-hour marathon. It's just the nature of the beast,
It always happens that way.
Well, we're starting to run down a little less than a minute, guys. I am going to go get ready for that big main event intro here in a second. As always, a pleasure. Thank you for letting me ride the bus with you guys for just a little bit. Getting that rub from you true pros here on the commentary station. And, guys, let's get ready for that big main event coming up next.
Appreciate your balls. 45 seconds left here. This fight continues to be in the same exact position it's been in since the opening round.
Yeah, Guzman's just going to ride it out here and finish. I mean, he's done a great job of keeping. We finally got him out here. This is great. This is just securing his win with the judges, you know. But he's done a great job of keeping a good offensive position.
King trying to keep that head down to avoid any big shots here at the end of the third round. Guzman landing a couple to the body.
Seconds left.
Edgardo Guzman going to pick up his second win here as a professional as he just smothers Braxton King for 15 minutes essentially.
Yeah.
Really a flawless performance from Guzman. The game plan was to take King down, control the fight on the ground, and he executed it without fail. Edgardo Guzman moments away from having his hand raised here as he defeats Braxton King. Well, I'll tell you one thing. This next fight, Bostic's going to want to throw hands.
Yeah,
He's going to want to get in there and scrap.
It's going to get dirty.
We know the hype behind Hope. I understand a lot of our fights tonight have been on the ground. They may not have been as exciting as you would like to see. Everybody wants to see those hands being thrown, the big shots, you know. We haven't had as much of that here tonight at AKA 19. But I've got a feeling our championship fight coming up next is going to showcase some of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the 3 rounds of fantastic professional mixed martial arts action, we are returning to our judges' scorecards. Ladies and gentlemen, all 3 judges have seen and scored this fight the same way. Therefore, declaring your winner by unanimous decision, fighting in the blue corner, the Yellow Ranger, Edgardo Guzman.
So Edgardo Guzman moves to 2-0 as he hands Braxton King his first loss as a professional. Really a flawless performance here by Guzman, representing Blitz MMA.
Yeah, man, it was a flawless victory for him for sure. I mean, he kept the fight under his control the entire time.